All right, guys, welcome back to Super Lap Battle USA Circuits of the America here in Deville, Texas, right next to Austin. We've had a pretty exciting first two sessions of those three run groups. We're about to go hot with Group 3, Session 3. So what's going to be happening here right now is this is going to have two more sessions for the three time attack run groups. Group 3, Session 3 should be going hot any minute now. What time are we looking at? It's 1:20. They're going to be on the pit at 1:20. They'll be going hot at 1:20. It should be right now. So we have them lining up. They should be getting ready to go. Let's go ahead and recap what's going on. Cole Powelson is still in first place with his incredible 2:07. He did a 2:07.181. Second place is a 2:12.185. That's Mr. James Hooten. We don't know if we're going to see Cole come back out. I don't know if he damaged something on that hot lap or if they have to just save it. I know he showed up on a wounded engine, and I wouldn't be surprised when he turned it up to make sure he took first place that he hurt it a little bit more. But hopefully we see James Hooten lay down a lap time that forces Cole to come back out. All right, guys, they have made this track hot. The track is green, guys. So here's what they're doing. They're sending these cars out. They did rearrange the order after lunch to make sure that the speed index is as close as possible. Some people went faster, some people went slower. We want to make sure that everyone has their part of the track to go as fast as they possibly can. I'm sure you've been watching long enough to know these cars and these drivers. I'm not going to announce every single person coming out of the pit, but just know the big names, the people who have been going out there and pushing themselves. I'm glad to see Mr. Zach Sober in his orange STI picking up more time in his street-driven car that he drove here from Houston, Texas. These guys are going out on their warm-up laps. The most important part of the warm-up lap is to make sure that they get their tires warm, they get temperature in the brakes, because they're going to be trying to push as hard as they possibly can on that following lap. Now, some of these cars, enthusiasts and street cars, can do 2, 3, maybe even 4 hot laps before everything starts falling off. But once you get in the higher classes, the limited, unlimited, they're set up so aggressively, both in engine tune and alignment specs, that second laps are not always guaranteed. Sometimes on a second lap, your tires get so greasy, you just push through the corners. Sometimes on a second lap, your engine temps get so high, you go into a safety mode, or worst case scenario, have a catastrophic failure. So these guys want to make sure that they set up their first lap as well as possible. They're going to go out there, they're going to push just enough to get the heat into the tires and brakes, but they're not going to overdrive it. That way their tires stay under it for the entire lap. Starting their hot laps. That's Ryan Dissex in the DSX Motorsports Subaru WRX in street class. Jackie Dean, who was released in front of him, seems to be starting his hot lap right now. I'm not sure if he just takes a little longer to get into the tires than anyone else, but I will tell you, when he starts flying, he does a great job. Ryan's looking really clean through the S's. It looks like behind Jackie Dean might be Thomas Lee, so we'll see what's going on with that. Oh no, Nick Steniford with a quick spin. He might have just been pushing it a little too hard to try and get heat into those tires. Luckily, it doesn't look like we have any smoke or any oil issues with this one today. If you didn't know, yesterday they ruptured an oil line and they just basically had to lay down some oil on the track. They got it back in. His team worked their butts off to fix that oil line and a cracked rotor issue he had, and he was back out here today pushing hard. Pretty sure he picked up 2 seconds in the first or second session. It's nice to see so many different vehicles here at Super Lap Battle USA. We go from Nissan to Honda to Mazda. Obviously, Hondas are very popular. We've seen these across the board in Time Attack. FD RX-7s, not so much. 350Zs have been falling off, but it's nice to see Zs and Gs here today. Jackie Ding off to the side, letting Nick go. We really need to figure out if he's having issues. His team seemed to have no issues in the pits. They weren't working on anything. They were just cleaning the car up, getting ready for the next session. Kimi Chi in that Porsche Boxster, really pushing it through the S's. Looks like Ryan just finished his first lap. 2:38.639. That would make him purple on this lap, but he is the first one to go by. So let's see what else we got going on with this one. Ryan does look like he's pushing hard for a second lap. Now, some of these street class cars, they are set up to do multiple laps because their tires don't fall off nearly as fast. So sometimes it takes them 1 or 2 laps to truly get the heat into the tires. Now, with that being the case, I know Ryan has run a faster lap time than this. Maybe he's just trying to go out for a second one when everything is good to go. Ryan is the fastest in the session so far, though, because Mr. Thomas Lee ran a 2:45 and Mr. Jonathan Waits ran a 2:41. Ryan's still pushing on this lap. It's a very common track vehicle. Supers, especially the bug eye format, have been dropping in prices, and people have been picking them up and making them track cars. And honestly, I think it's a great idea to pick up a used vehicle, something that isn't going to cost you too much, maybe spend a little bit more money than you want to get one that's in quality condition. The last thing you want is to pick up a vehicle, have it rusted underneath, or just have to do an extensive amount of chassis repairs before you can actually track it. But this is a great chassis to get into. If you haven't noticed, Subarus do dominate the all-wheel drive classes. We only have one Evo here and a couple GTRs. So a Subaru is a great platform to step into, knowing that there's a lot of support, there's a lot of teams that run them, so there's a lot of data out there for you to make sure you can find out what you need to find out and get the information required. Here we are, Zach Sober, his Sober Racing STI. He seems to be on the inside over here. I don't think he's pushing it very hard, so maybe he's having an issue or he just has to cool that car down. Kimi Chi in the Boxster. This car may even be on a stock style suspension. He got a lot of roll, but he is pushing that car hard. Ryan just finished his second lap, picked a second up on that, did a 2:37.204. It looks like he is still pushing, though. I don't see him lifting or letting off, so maybe he's going to go for a third lap. The car is kind of oscillating there. It's crazy as you go through the classes. Even these street class cars with good suspension, they move a lot through the S's. The body roll is there, but you get into the limited and unlimited cars that are more highly sprung because they have crazier aero loads, and they look almost completely flat through those sections. Now remember, you always give and take with suspension. You up the spring rates, you're getting rid of the compliance. Sometimes a little bit of body roll is good, but sometimes too much is bad. It's always a battle with these guys, especially with high aero loads, because you need the higher spring rate to keep the car off the floor. Oh, Kimi Chi with a nice save. Great save. That was almost coming around. I think he picked up some driving skills from the safety vehicle earlier. Jackie Ding does look like he's pushing on this lap. Ooh, that is a serious lockup. That is a possible flat spot on his front right tire. I'm wondering if he has an electrical issue, because S2000s have some of the best ABS from the factory. ABS may not be working correctly, or he just having some issues causing him to get that lockup. Here is Mr. Nicholas Bright, that Honda Accord Euro R. Driving on the wrong side of the road there, sir. You got the little right-hand drive vehicle. Here we go. We do have a vehicle off track. I believe that might be Nick Steniford. It is a white S2000. It could be the Def Motion car. From this angle, it is very hard to tell. They are both just straight white from the back. It does look like it's Nick Steniford because there is the Def Motion car. Ryan just setting fast lap after fast lap. First lap was a 2:38, second lap was a 2:37. Now he's in the 2:36s. Looks like Ryan's car is very happy going multiple laps in a row. Here we have live timing, my friends. As you can see on the very top is Mr. Ryan Dussex with a 2:36.520. Thomas Lee right behind him with a 2:41.170. Jackie Ding with a 2:51 on his lap. I just wish I could tell you what was going on with his car. We got Mr. Jonathan Waits, who's in the pits right now with a 2:41.653. Drew Turner with a 2:38.133. Nishant Patel in a 2:44.249, followed by Mr. Bright in a 2:44.166. Here we have it, Mr. Nick Steniford over on the side of the track. It looks like the worker came out, talked to him, and got back in, so they may be bringing him a flatbed. Oh, he got her back up and running. He did have a small issue yesterday, so I'm sure he wanted to make sure he's not leaving anything on track, and if there is an issue, that he is definitely nowhere near the racing line. Yeah, he pulled forward just a little bit and then stopped again. My guess is they're going to have to come pick him up. We are still green right now with yellow in one section, so we'll see what they have to do. If they have to pull him off track with the flatbed, they're probably just going to yellow that section. The sad part is, though, when they yellow in that section, they're not going to have the ability to set hot laps. So hopefully Nick gets it going up, or they're able to get him off track quickly. Yep, and there's the flatbed, guys. It does look like they're going to have to put Nick on a flatbed to get him back out. These guys are going to have to slow down significantly out of safety and rules, so their laps will be ruined. Timing and scoring has ended this session only because they know by the time that this car gets off, they won't have enough time to get any more green laps. So what we'll do is we'll get ready for Group 2, Session 2. It is nice to see this line of 3 different vehicles, 2 Hondas with a Nissan, nice little Honda sandwich. It does look like these guys are coming in. Luckily, we do have some beautiful cars to look at in the pit lanes. There's the Def Motion Honda S2000. I've been talking about this car a little bit, but it really is Japanese tuning. Voltex wing, nice aggressive wheel offset, got a nice small front splitter, very clean aero package along with a clean looking car, white with just the livery they have on there. Good homage to go back old school time attack. Not to mention he's been putting in some good laps. Here we have everyone getting ready for their Group 2, Session 3. This is going to be Group 2, Session 3, the most contested group on the grid. I'm sure you notice over to the side those old Formula 2 cars. Now, those guys have been running during exhibition sessions, Formula 2 along with some Radicals and TC America cars. Those cars sound great and they fly. They make me miss the V8 era of Formula 1. It's pretty cool to see these guys. They come just out for exhibition and testing. They come with like an entire race team. These guys are no joke, but at the same time, these cars are not as easy to take care of. Now, you're probably wondering what the difference between these cars and, say, a Formula 1 car is. These Formula 2 cars have a lot less aero, but they make crazy power. But as you can see down in the corner, their tires are way smaller than an F1 car. So these guys putting in lap times of 2:07s. I will say it again, they're doing the exact same lap time as Cole Powelson, 2:07s, but with a much lighter car, less power, smaller wheels, smaller tires. Looks like they got Nick all loaded up in the flatbed. They should have him back in pretty quickly. That way we can start Group 2, Session 3. So guys, as the day has progressed, the temps have gone up. I'm gonna go ahead and check the forecast for you. Give me 1 second. You know, it's crazy. It's only 59. Now, it does feel a little bit warmer outside, but it's 59. There's a little bit of wind, but we've been picking up on the wind as the day has gone on. So these guys are having to deal with tailwinds and crosswinds. Right here, what we have is Group 2, Session 3. Group 2, Session 3. This is going to be one of the most contested run groups in the event, my friends. Every time Group 2 comes out, we see people fighting for very, very similar lap times. Luckily for us, they were able to get Nick off on a side road. Big high-quality tracks like this do not necessarily make you wait for a car to come all the way around. There are a multitude of side roads that allow vehicles and safety workers off. So if we had to wait for Nick to get off the track, these guys would not actually be on track right now. We'd be cutting into their time. So it's good to see him off track and these cars ready to go out. For those of you that are wondering on the format, this is Session 3. There'll be one whole session, but we actually have something special for you guys at the end. It's called the Super Lap Battle. Pretty good wordplay, right? The Super Lap Battle. Right after the last Group 1 Session 4, we'll have a shootout. The top 3 cars of enthusiast class will shoot out. That'll be that'll be 10 minutes on track. There are no special awards or prizes, and their times do count towards timing and scoring. So it's their chance to be out on an open track on their own to set the fastest lap they possibly can. It'll go enthusiast class. They get 10 minutes, and then street class gets 15, limited class gets 15, and unlimited class gets 15. So from 4:05 till 5 o'clock, we'll be doing the shootout. And here we go, guys. The hot laps are starting. We have Mr. Ulrich Zerka in his Mazda Miata UMS tuning, being followed by Ray Williams in the Bobby Lane Racing Project Import Honda Accord. Looks like these guys are pushing hard on these laps. Like I said, Group 2 seems to be the most contested group. These guys are all out there trying to set the fastest laps they can. There's Ravi. Didn't think we'd see him back out. He was told me he was pushing it as far as he could. He might stay in, but it's good to see him out there pushing. Being followed by Sally McNulty in that IAG Performance Cobb Tuning Subaru VA WRX STI. that right there is the Billy Brooks driving the Porsche 911 Carrera S for Cobb Tuning. Cobb is located here in Texas, guys. They had a Thursday meet before the event. It's nice to be dealing with such great companies that support not only racers, but support race programs so well. It does look like Billy is catching up to Ray in the Project Import Bobby Lane Racing Honda Accord. Ray did pull over, so it looks like he let Billy Brooks by. Don't know if Ray's having an issue or if he just needs something to a little bit more time. Here's Brian Tyson in his JS-tuned Camaro ZL1. Brian Tyson with a 228, 221. If I'm not mistaken, Brian has ran a 226. Yes, a 226, 906. So he's broken out of the 27. Track might be warming up. Either tires are getting slippery or these guys just need a little bit more time to get used to the grip that's available. Billy Brooks with a 225, 922. Oh, looks like Ulrich Zerka lost it coming around the front straight. Billy Brooks' fastest time before that was a 2:30, 1:42. So I'm going to tell you right now, that makes Billy Brooks surpass Brian Tyson on the standings. Looks like he really figured out that 911. He's wheeling it. The attitude of the car through the corners is definitely something that looks great on camera. You can tell he's pushing it just to the limit. He's not slipping out, but the car is rotating behind him. Here we have Kevin Parlett letting Ravi by. Don't know if Kevin's having issues. I did hear him earlier say he was pushing some water out, so I know they've been fighting a little bit of issues here and there. Hopefully you can get that figured out and lay down a quick lap. The fastest of the session in his Porsche 911 Carrera S is Billy Brooks at a 225, 922. There we go, just letting Mike King by. I was talking to Mike King in the pits as he gets a little sideways there. He says this car's about 1,000 pounds heavier than anything he's used to driving. He's been racing FRSs, BRZs, and S2000s for the last 5-6 years. So you put him in a car like a M3 with a good amount of torque, but 1,000 more pounds, and you take a little getting used to. With that being said, he's been setting out some good lap times on the 233, 459 as his fastest lap. Looks like Brian Tyson lost it a little bit there through the turn 20. He was on a flyer, but he kind of pushed out a little bit, made him run a 228. Billy Brooks just reset his fastest lap. He just did a 224, 926. Ray Williams with a 230, 722. His fastest lap of the weekend so far is in the 229s. Looks like the Accord might be pushing some smoke there. There's one thing you got to say about Sally McNulty and all her cars. She makes them pop on track. Sally's gone through quite a few different liveries on vehicles, and I will tell you, none of them have ever disappointed. It does look like the Bobby Lane Racing Honda Accord is slow on track. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on with him. Here comes Brian Tyson pushing in deep. Brian has ran a 226. He's 228s in this session. Looks like he's pulling over to the side. He was just going fast to get out of the way for the car behind. Sally just laid down a 2:35.868. That's going to be the fastest of this session for her. Her fastest of the weekend is a 2:34.751. Here we have Ravi being followed by Sally. Ravi probably makes the little less horsepower than Sally, but Sally probably weighs a little bit more. The C-Class engine is a beautiful engine, twin overhead cam V6 mid-engine car. Their balance is amazing. As you can see, the gap really isn't closing, so their straight line speed near identical. If anything, Ravi's pulling away a little bit. Billy Brooks is out there just pushing that car. His last lap was a 2:46.380. Those tires might be getting greasy, but Billy's just showing these guys, hey, I got no problem drifting my Porsche. He is taking a little bit wider line through the S's. My guess is he's lost a lot of tire grip, but he has no problem still pushing it. There we go, Brian Tyson. He seemed to have slowed down last lap, but it looks like he's pushing now. As you can tell, Brian has no problem pushing his daily street car. He was supposed to be here in his Ford Focus ST, built by JS Tune, but at the end of the day, you got to bring whatever car is running, and they had electrical issues. So it's really hard to see speed differential on camera. You know, we don't have overlays of speeds, but let me give you a little insight. His Camaro ZL1, as you can see, sucking up to Jason Owens. He's probably hitting speeds of 150 to 155 on this back straight, where people like Cole Powelson and James Hooten are hitting speeds of 170 plus, but they're slowing down to near 45 miles an hour to take that corner. It's a lot of braking G-force. This is a good little battle. More insight for you. These two towed out here together. They're both from the Georgia area, so Jason Owens and Mr. Brian Tyson were on the same two-car trailer towing out. Here we have them, Brian Tyson and Jason Owens. What's funny is this is exactly how they towed out here on the trailer. Brian in the back, Jason in the front. Times say otherwise, though. Jason has done a 2:33, I believe, and Brian Tyson has laid down a 2:26. Billy Brooks is just laying lap after lap. His last lap was within 1 second of his fastest, though. He's done a 2:24.926, and that other lap was a 2:25.7. He's really showing the ability of those Porsche 911s. Ulrich Zerka in his little Miata that could, all depending on gearing, but I guarantee you Ulrich's speed on this would blow your mind. Woo, Billy using up as much track as he can. I'm guessing he's running out of tires. Yeah, Billy Brooks, I think he slowed down just a bit. He pushed out very wide 2 corners before this, so there's a good chance that he's just kind of on a cool down now. He's put those tires through hell, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have just completely fallen off on him. Here we have Fiona Liu in her Pikachu-powered Honda S2000. The car is very simple looking, yet very clean. I mean, I'm not going to lie, this is the kind of car if you saw it driving down the street, it would take your attention. Ulrich seems to be starting a true hot lap. I think he had just come back in from the pits because that was 4+ minutes right there, so let's see. Here we have probably the highest profile vehicle you guys have seen on our track, Life Motorsports GTR. Now, if you see this car with everything on it, you'll notice that only the top of the door comes off. It looks like they just got out of the way for Mr. Hooten, though, so I'm starting to be a firm believer of they've actually run into some issues. Ulrich's car looking really clean on track. Yeah, it looks like this session has been checkered. All the guys from Group 1, Session 3 are getting ready. Group 1, Session 3. We see James Hooten being followed by Mr. Phil Grabo. Ulrich Zerka there, really pushing the limits of not only his vehicle but his own skill. People would say 18 years old may not be old enough to be at an event like this, as he just turned 18, but anyone who's been following this kid around, I've known him since he was 10 or 12, and I'll tell you right now, he's been driving cars for quite some time. I think he was 15 the first time he drove his father's 500, 600 horsepower Evo, so I have no shortness of doubt to tell you he can get in any car here and wheel it. I think we found out why Mr. Ray Williams came into the pits a little early there. Looks like they may be having a belt issue. what are they looking at? They are on the belt side of the vehicle. They maybe have to be replacing a blower belt. It is their first event with this new Road Trek style supercharger, so hopefully they get that squared away, give Mr. Williams a chance to go back out and lay down some faster times. Over here in the garage to the left of Bobby Lane Racing Project Import, you see Ulrich Zerka and Ravi. The gentleman talking with the hat, that's Tony Zerka. That is his father. He is also a staff here at Super Lap Battle USA. He is the tech steward. But taking off the helmet, who is a little taller than him, is his son. His dad's been helping his son take in his driving skills for quite some time. Now, some of you may not know, but UMS Tuning also has one crazy, wicked, unlimited class Evo. He's been spending the last year plus rebuilding it, and we know when he's back out here next year, the car will be ready. Few of these people in the pits, if you don't know, we have Aaron here right there. This is basically the UMS Arizona crew. Now, Aaron's not part of UMS, but he's been helping support those guys for ages. We have Group 1 Session 3 out on track. Group 1 Session 3 out on track. James Hooten leading these guys out, being followed by quite a few. Now, this white Subaru you see with the yellow mirrors, this is Johnny Hernandez, guys. He came out here from California and blew a coilover canister in the first day. He literally found a set of Fortune 500s on Craigslist, went and picked them up, put the car back together, and he's out here trying to set fast times. These guys don't come out here just to run until they break. They run, they break, they fix, they go again, they break, they fix, they go again. I think the community that's winning the most here, though, is the Subaru community. They have a very strong community on social media and in forums. They're actually probably one of the few car brands that still has forums going for them. I luckily am part of many of these groups, and all the updates on these Subarus have been popping at our event. Every single car, every incident, every lap time is not only being posted by us, but it's being posted by all of them. Who we're following right now is Mr. Alex Lee, PhD Racing. And here we go, guys. James Hooten is K-Tune Levine Motorsports Integra Type R going in for his hot lap. Throwing spark for Angel. Gotta love that. It looks great on camera. Looks like he had a clean exit there through turn one. There's Mr. Phil starting his hot lap. Here's a twin turbo LS powered FRS. James is really pushing it through these S's. You know for a fact he doesn't want to leave this place with anything on the table. He was leading this event for the first day for a session or two, and then it got taken from him, so he's got to take back what he feels rightfully belongs to him. James is a fighter. He always feels like he's the underdog when he walks in, and you know most of the time he is, and he always feels like I'm going to win even though I'm on the card in the red. You can really see the elevation changes from this point. It really dips down, then picks back up through the back straight. James, talking to him, says he picks up speeds about 172 miles an hour back here. So he's going to go from 172, hard braking for this left-hander, about 45, maybe 50 miles an hour through that corner. This is the section of the track that gets very technical. Here he comes, hits his marks. Looks like he may have been a little wide right there, but his lines are a little different. You're going to look at some lines and think, wow, you know, maybe he went a little wide there, but these aero cars, these cars with high aero dependency can actually go around a corner faster than over a curb and wait for the car to settle. Let's see what James just laid down. 2:13.218, so he may go for another flyer. 2:13 is about a second off his fastest lap, but it does look like he slowed down. I don't know if he's had any issues, but he's not throwing sparks, so I know he's not running full force. Looks like we got a little bit of smoke coming out of the back of Phil with a 2:17.077. Scott Dolehite at 2:20.181. So that is faster than their fastest time. I believe it definitely is. So Scott Dolehite was running a 2:21.329. They say they were chasing 2:19s. Let's just say that moved him up on the overall board. I feel like Phil's car may have a little bit of an issue. Got Alex Lee slowing down a lot for this corner. Mike McGinnis out there in his GTR. There's Johnny Hernandez on those new coilovers. I believe they are not of the highest quality like his other coilovers, but that is not stopping him from going as fast as he can. He's running 2:24.07 or on that last lap he did a 2:25.638. It looks like Phil is burning some fluids though. The only one right now on a flyer on that back straight is Ferris in his Car Optics Chevy Corvette Z06. Before, I believe he's a Ferris, he isn't limited. So before Scott Dolehite ran his fastest lap of that 2:21.31, Ferris was in the lead of limited class. But right now, Scott Dolehite is winning by 0.2 or 0.3. So let's see if Ferris has the ability to lay down a flyer. Oh no, Johnny Hernandez. Hopefully he doesn't have any serious issues. He has pulled over to the side of the track. Alex Lee really pushing through the S's. Ferris ran a little bit slower time, so Ferris is still behind Scott Dolehite in that Camaro SS1LE. It does look like they did run a full yellow. We're running a yellow because Johnny Hernandez did go off and stay off. Hopefully there's no serious issues with him. So at the end of this session, guys, they're yellowing this, so it looks like this will be the end of this session. At the end, it really looks like the leaderboards have changed for limited class. So Ferris was in first with Scott Dolehite in second. These two cars you see on track, they used to look like this in the standings, but right after this session, it looks like now Ferris is in second and Scott Dolehite is in first. Don't forget, though, the top 5 of Street, Limited, and Unlimited get their own shootout time, and the top 3 of Enthusiasts get their own shootout time. So hopefully we can get that figured out soon, get you some standings, and we'll be back. They're going to have the safety vehicle talk to Johnny, make sure he's okay, make sure nothing serious is going on with the car. He's going to bring a strap, and if there's no fluids dangling, they're definitely going to make sure that they pull him off as quick as possible. If there's any fluids underneath the car, they're going to go ahead and get a flatbed out here to make sure they don't leave any on the track. Yeah, it looks like James Hooten's out there running reconnaissance laps because he knows he's not going to be able to lay another lap time. Johnny's car is not laying any fluid on track. They're going to strap him up as quickly as possible and get him pulled off. This is the end of Group 1, Session 3. So once again, this is the end of Group 1, Session 3. Here we got James passing Johnny Hernandez on the outside. They're going to pull him in. This session is going to go cold after this.
Corey, did you copy?
All right, guys, so it is going to bring an end here to Group 1, Session 3. What we did have was James Houghton running a 213.218, but the bigger story is Mr. Scott Dolehite with his 220.181, surpassing Ferris in his limited class Corvette Z06. So as it stands right now, Mr. Scott Dolehite is on top of limited class. If this still stands, he's going to be on the top spot of the podium, but that's not how it works here, guys. They get one more complete session, and they get their top 5 shootout. Unless another 7 competitors step up and surpass both of them, they're both going to get an opportunity with basically open track to lay down the fastest lap they possibly can. So as it stands right now, my friends, it looks like we will be back on stream at 3 p.m. Texas time. Once again, we will be back on stream in 40 minutes. That is 3 p.m. Texas time. They will be gridding up for Group 3, Session 4, and then at 3:05, they will go hot. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you again in 40 minutes, and let's see if we can get some more times dropping.